So there's about 4 parts to this, or 4 main components to using music as a cellular service. And we're thinking about the modular side here, the portability. So in the actual hardware itself, we could have a genre slider instead of the old school 0 to whatever number radio slider or tuner. You know, we could have over here a rock, alt, pop, etc., including your custom selections. And that would be your slider to get to the kind of music you want to get to. And then you could press it again and you'd have rock 1, rock 2, rock 3, and so on and so forth. And of course you can have, you know, a regular radio site as well built into the hardware, and then the cellular system could provide the signal to support this, to facilitate this, or just get it from the radio. Additionally, we have the directional speaker concept, because we're working on the modular side here, to where you could have different shapes of the speaker's performance. So we can face like a cardioid pattern where it's going like this. We can face an omnidirectional pattern where it's going all around, so you can hear the speaker in all directions, 360. We can have front facing, we can have back facing, maybe a diagonal speaker. So like mic patterns for good microphones, where you could put a little capsule in and change how the mic works, you could have a directional speaker system for your portable modular system to facilitate this new concept of having music as a cellular service. Of course, we're going to need a deep display for your profile, which is connected to the cellular service. So the deep display is going to be extensible through the desktops, but when you get to your hardware, you'll be able to see like a consolidated version, which is going to show your albums and your playlists and your profiles that you're in, your signal strength, maybe a search feature. So the display is going to be useful as a consolidated reference, so you know where you're at. If you're on rock, it'll show rock. You know, it'll show what album's playing, the title of the album. And if you need to input stuff, you'll be able to see that represented on the display. So here we have another concept, which is to make a detachable keypad so that you could just use your thumb or whatever while you're driving or when you're just parked to input data. And you can do it more simply with a keypad, a physical keypad, because the point of this is making a physical interface on the hardware to augment, to enhance the experience so that you're not just using, you know, digital entry. So it's simplified, which is the main point. So you're not worrying about going through menus upon menus upon menus. Kind of like how an analog synthesizer had all these knobs, so you didn't have to worry about going through menus. So that's what we're thinking about here. Making it physical so that it's easier to use and implement, because it's very dense technology that's capable here. Because this basic screen is going to be available on your different kinds of devices. And you want to make sure that you can have different ways of inputting this, and that it's going to be understandable for all the hardware that's going to be connected with this music as a cellular service concept. Perhaps you could use voice, but if we're trying to scale back price, you'd have to rethink like how voice would work. You may not want something so powerful that it's going to reference the cellular system, because then that's going to add cost. So if we're just thinking of music as a service, maybe there's some basic voice concepts you could embed into the technology. Play such and such album, or play playlist number 5, simple stuff. And then the other one is a dongle that is basically the entire system in a nutshell, sort of like a Google Chromecast, where you would have the antenna and a way to interface into a legacy device. So for instance, like a USB port or something like this that would go inside of another device to make it so that you could share this technology, which is going to beam cellular service to multiple systems without having to worry about getting another device and another device and another device. Maybe you have something that can support this technology already, so you would simply just unplug the dongle and then stick it in, or just have multiple of these that you could just share, and then one main system. So if you could have one for your home or your your portable or whatever, And that way you can always have access to your main profile, which is the key to this. So it's very cool here. This is just to augment the hardware side of things for music as a cellular service package. So when you go to the cellular service provider, you have, voice, data, and potentially music. We don't want to get involved with media because then that crosses the line over to data. Music keeps it kind of consolidated and kind of a one-way thing. You're just bringing down a bunch of music and all that kind of stuff. Not worrying about software and social media, just music as a service.